Well, after a long wait because I couldn't upload videos, here it is finally, Week 10 of the 2019 DCFL season. As we take a look at the current standings, as we see in the Eastern Conference, Charlotte out of nowhere now leads the division with New York right behind, and then my charm in the third seed, followed by Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and Philadelphia. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, Indianapolis still leads undefeated, with Chicago surging at the second seed, followed by Phoenix, a losing team in the playoffs right now, followed by Oakland, LA, and then Seattle. So we start off the week with my charm visiting the undefeated Indianapolis Rapid Stallions as, oh my god, my team has suffered 2 losses in a row. This is not looking good. Meanwhile, Indianapolis still undefeated, but the last bunch of weeks have been kind of struggling. You gotta wonder if eventually the loss will eventually come. Hopefully it'll be me, because I need this win very badly. But the Rapid Stallions would win it 36-34 in a game that was very, very close. Throughout the entire game, my charm kept up hard within a score of the entire game, but unfortunately just could not get the win, unfortunately, as my charm have now lost 3 in a row. Meanwhile, Indianapolis, 10 in a row now, still undefeated, as they continue to march on towards winning the division, making a playoff berth. And then we get to the huge game this week, as Chicago Staleys visit the Charlotte Bobcats, as they're both 7-2. Chicago needed a win here to keep up with Indianapolis in that division. Meanwhile, Charlotte, a win here will help them maintain their lead in that division, surprisingly. They are so lucky to have that lead. But Chicago would win it in a defensive struggle, 20-13, as Chicago would put up 400 yards of offense and completely shut down Charlotte's offense, as they are now 8-2, got their first non-losing season as Charlotte suffered their first loss after winning 5 in a row, I think it was. Then we go out to Jacksonville as the Jacksonville Scouts host the Oakland Pillagers, as Oakland, after that 3-1 start, has won only one game as they're 4-5. They need a win here to get the lead back for that third playoff spot in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, Jacksonville won last week, trying to win again to salvage this terrible start to the season they had. And Jacksonville would win in a defensive struggle, 19-13, as neither offense could get really anything going, but Jacksonville managed to get 400 yards and 19 points off it. Meanwhile, Oakland could barely get 225 yards, as once again their offense continues to struggle, as Jacksonville now won 2 in a row. Meanwhile, Oakland now lost 2 in a row now. After that, we head out to Phoenix as the New York Gangsters visit the Phoenix Devils, as New York, after that 6-0 start, has lost 2 of their last 3 games. Meanwhile, Phoenix has gotten on a bit of a roll now, winning 2 games in a row. Now with Oakland losing, if they could win here, get the 500, they'll have that third seed wrapped up for the moment at least. But it's not going to be easy against New York. And New York destroyed Phoenix 44-26 to get their first non-losing season ever. And with this win now, New York once again right back in the lead in the Eastern Conference, as Phoenix got trounced. New York put up almost 475 yards of offense. They forced 2 sacks, 2 fumbles that they both recovered, and that helped them decisively in this game. Phoenix tried their best, but they just could not keep up, and ouch! How about that? The third seed in the Western Conference, a playoff spot. Team lead has 4-6, 2 games behind 500. That is definitely not good. After that, it's the Pittsburgh Power visiting the LA Mean Green Machines, as Pittsburgh finally ended their 6-game losing streak last week, beating New York on the road in overtime. That was impressive. Meanwhile, LA, after winning 2 in a row, getting to 3-4, they lost 2 in a row now. Not looking really good, but they have a shot here to win and get within that tie for that last wild card spot for the playoffs that they badly want. And Pittsburgh would win it 21-10 in a defensive struggle, as LA went up 10-0, but they allowed 21 unanswered points, as Pittsburgh put up almost 400 yards of offense. LA couldn't get anything going offensively, and Pittsburgh now has won 2 in a row on the road, as they need to badly recover to have any shot making the playoffs, as my charm continues to struggle. That's not very good. And then we get to the final game of the week, as is the Battle of the Tanks, the 2 worst teams record-wise, as the Seattle Tenyo visit the Philadelphia Sonics. Oh boy, we can't see Mayumi lose this, because you know a rapey AP will try and rape her after this loss, as neither of these 2 teams can lose this game. And the good news is Seattle would win it 24-14 to give Philadelphia their first ever losing season, and the first team with a losing record right now, although they're still in the playoff race, believe it or not. Phew! Thank God Mayumi's team won. That would have been disastrous, as her defense did a really good job shutting down the Sonics, even though they still once again couldn't get any offense going. Scored 24 unanswered points to get the win as they moved to 2-8. So now we take a look at the standings after 10 games. As you see, New York once again takes the lead back in the Eastern Conference, followed by Charlotte as the 2nd seed, and then my charm, the 3rd seed right now. And of course, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and Philadelphia lead out the division. And the conference, the Western Conference, Indianapolis still remains undefeated at 10-0, followed by Chicago 2nd at 8-2, and then Phoenix still leading that 3rd seed even with a losing record at 4-6, and then Oakland, LA, and Seattle wrap out the bottom of that conference. And we actually have some playoff clinch and elimination scenarios. Start off with Philadelphia. If they lose and or Baltimore wins, they will be eliminated from the playoffs. And then there's Indianapolis. They will clinch a playoff spot if they win or Phoenix and Oakland both lose. But that's it in terms of playoff clinch and elimination scenarios. Philadelphia and Indianapolis. So we now take a look at the schedule for Week 11. We're down to the final 6 games as we see big ones start off with New York visiting my charm. Oh boy, we better get that win. And then Jacksonville visiting Charlotte. Then Philadelphia visiting Pittsburgh. Then a huge game in the Western Conference as Indianapolis visits Chicago when they destroyed them 52-3 earlier in the season. Let's see what happens in the rematch. Holy shit, that's going to be big. And then LA visiting Oakland. And then finally Phoenix visiting Seattle to wrap out the week. So with that, Week 10 is in the books as we're down to the final 6 weeks. Oh boy, I can't wait as we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. So see you guys next time for Week 11.